Hello, when it comes to luxury brands, I know one of them, it is like Gucci, Coco Chanel, Louis Vuitton. So these are some of the luxury brands which are known all over the world, and these are the brands which bring a lot of class into its name, and many people know of its class and how expensive these brands are, and they also produce quality products. And one of these brands called Louis Vuitton, I'll be telling you the story of Louis Vuitton and how it became and how its journey to becoming a luxury brand, and how it has created a large brand today, which we know it as Louis Vuitton, and we appreciate for its its quality bags, its quality designs, and it has also revolutionized the brand industry and also the fashion industry. So Louis Vuitton, I'll be telling you the story and also the founder member of Louis Vuitton, which the founder member was called Louis Vuitton, and he was born in the year of 1821. So you can imagine 1821 to right now we're in 2023. So it's like almost 200 years for this company to become a legendary company and a so large company. So anybody thinking that success is for one day or 2 days, it's success is not like that. It can take almost 200 years, and most of these companies which we see here today, like the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, Rolex, we see other brands like Ferrari, Lamborghini. These are brands which started a long time ago, and right now we are now seeing its wave. We are seeing its star shining. So anything, and also many brands take time to appear. There's no brand which can be produced today and also evolve even today. Even the Tesla brand, it was produced in the years of 2000 over there, but right now we are seeing it, and also many people are shocked even to realize that it was produced a long time ago. So Louis Vuitton was a boy born in the year 1821, and he was born in France, and it was a poor family. It was not a well family. So Louis Vuitton was the one who used to work hard and also cater for his parents, the mother and also the father. But it was a struggle for them because they had to look for food anywhere, and they were doing some cultural and also farming. But Louis Vuitton had a dream, and this dream will later on grow, and also later on he will captivate it by the circumstances of life and also the good luck of life which brought unto him. So after Louis Vuitton struggling with his parents and also struggling to cater for his own living, things even got more worse when his mother died. When the mother died, the father now married another woman, which this woman started was abusing Louis Vuitton and was against Louis Vuitton so much, and Louis Vuitton had to look and also go to another country, like to go to Paris, where in Paris he will be able to find his dream and also motivate his dream and also grow it into what we know as Louis Vuitton today. So in the journey of going to Paris, it took about 3 years to reach the capital city of Louis Vuitton of Paris, because France at that time Louis Vuitton was living in another city which was far away from Paris, and the main destination of Louis Vuitton was Paris, where you could go there and also have some skills and also have some uh, also learn on how to do other things and also get a job to cater for his life. So in his journey, he was a homeless person. He was sleeping in forest. He was sleeping in bunkers. So in his journey on going to Paris, he usually was learning skills from other people, like were worksmiths. So he was very good in learning skills. Like he was a masonry, he used to deal with metals, he used to deal many skills which he learned through the way when he was going to Paris. These are some of the skills which he will come later on and use them to help Louis Vuitton and also help his brand to be a known brand. So when he came to Paris is when now he was able to start learning the ways of making suitcases. At that time, suitcases were the luxury brands for people living in that period of time, because they will be used in traveling through the train, and they will be used into various methods of keeping also goods and also keeping clothes in a safe and also a locked where nobody can be able to access them. So Louis Vuitton had a chance to be one of the suit makers. He used to make suits using leather and also wooden, and this by his skills. His skills were exceptional until it reached a point where uh, the Empress of France at that time asked Louis Vuitton to be her own personal maker of her own suits. So Louis Vuitton, this was a great chance for Louis Vuitton to be making suitcases for the Queen, the Empress for France, and by making the suits for the Empress of France, Louis Vuitton got to interact with more people, and this was a luck at that time, being able to make suitcases for the Empress, because wherever the Empress goes, people will be asking who made for you this suit and who made for you this suitcase, and this will be a plus because the Empress will be able to refer many people to Louis Vuitton. So Louis Vuitton was able to establish his own store in France, and that's how he started. And he had more dream of expanding his store into many different countries. So Louis Vuitton was able to expand his store as his store, and at that time he was the age of 33, and at the age of 33 he was able to get married, and after getting married it is when he was able to establish his stores. And there was a tragic event which happened in the later in the years, where France was heading into a war, and that war led to the closure of the store of Louis Vuitton. After the closure of the store of Louis Vuitton, the war had to take place, and this affected Louis Vuitton a lot so much, and also affected other businesses which were in France because of this particular war. But fortunately, when the war was finished, Louis Vuitton was able to acquire stores in a high rich place, because at that time there was no store which was wanted to get back into business, and at that time stores were even more cheaper than the way they were. So Louis Vuitton was able to even purchase more stores at a particular high-end location where it was close to the railway, and also it was close to, there was a lot of traffic in that particular area. So Louis Vuitton, by doing this, he increased his business, and his business even expanded even more. So later on in the years, Louis Vuitton was thinking of expanding taking his business into many places. Even Louis Vuitton was selling goods even across to countries like Egypt. His goods were going into lots of parts of different areas. And one thing of what Louis Vuitton brought of his goods to be liked is the suitcases which were used in during that time had a top bunker which was carved, so it was very hard to stuff suitcases on top of each other. So what Louis Vuitton did, he invented a particular suitcase where it had a flat top, and this flat top was easy to stack suitcases on top of each other, and this also created more room. And one of the reasons which people in France opted for the suitcases which was carved is because when it rains, the suitcase was able to, the water will be able to slide down, and it won't be able to be collected on top of the suitcase. So Louis Vuitton invented something which was canvas. Although it was flat, water couldn't be held on top. It will be automatically slid down, and this was a nice invention for Louis Vuitton, and this is one thing that many people liked about the Louis Vuitton suitcases, and many people opted for the Louis Vuitton suitcases. So later on, Louis Vuitton died in the age of 70s over there, where his son was able to adapt Louis Vuitton, and the son which was now able to adapt Louis Vuitton was called George. George was the one who now started revolutionizing Louis Vuitton and made that monogram for Louis Vuitton, that logo for Louis Vuitton. It is George who made it because many people were making counterfeits goods of Louis Vuitton. So George wanted Louis Vuitton to have a unique type of style and a unique type of logo. So he made that LV monogram for Louis Vuitton. And after making the monogram for Louis Vuitton, he also made Louis Vuitton suitcases which had locks. And this was a revolution for them because many people could not be able to access other people's suitcases unless they were the people who were authorized to access it. So this also brought security in the Louis Vuitton suitcases and also brought a lot of trustworthy in the brand. So later on, also George, one thing George did, George used to train also workers for almost for many period of time, almost 1 year, 3 months, 6 months, just training workers in making this particular bag. He didn't want any fault in making this particular type of bag because the bags will be used by high end people and supreme people, and they wanted it to have minimal mistakes, and they wanted the bag to have complete perfection. So later on, George was, died in the year of 1936, and 1936 is when now the son of George, which is called Gaston, was able to adapt the Louis Vuitton and was able to inherit the company. And also Gaston took this company also into another step further. And that time in 1936, there was something which was unfortunate because at that time there was the World War II which was happening, and it was a very difficult time for this particular type area of France because Germany were invading. So what Gaston did was he was able to collaborate with the Germany and also the Nazi, and many people have a backlash for Louis Vuitton for doing this. They call them traitors, but also a popular brand like Coco Chanel was able to collaborate also with the Nazis and Germany. This was brought by because if they hadn't cooperated, the brands would have fallen, and also the Nazis and Germans would have done away with the brands. Today we see the Louis Vuitton, but if they hadn't been able to collaborate, the Louis Vuitton wouldn't be here today. So by their collaboration also sealed a future for them and also made them their company to go along the World War II, and also it came as a company which was unaffected by the World War II. So later on, the grandson of Gaston was the son-in-law of Gaston was able to take over the Louis Vuitton, and the son-in-law of Gaston was called Henry, and Henry is now the person who was a businessman, and unlike the other people who had been ruling Louis Vuitton, Henry had some business ideas and also was a businessman, and this was his career, and this was his own methods of, he had a lot of experience in doing business. So when he was able to be the CEO of Louis Vuitton, he is the one who took Louis Vuitton even further towards even further and also imaginable heights which the owner of who started Louis Vuitton could ever think of. So he was able to make, at that time Louis Vuitton was doing things, selling Louis Vuitton at a wholesale prices, the bags. But now Henry was able to make Louis Vuitton able to be sold at a retail price and also be sold at retails, where Louis Vuitton will be the ones which will basically be themselves selling the Louis Vuitton bags. And this also made their stocks punch through a lot because they were worth I think it was 20 million, which also suppressed that later on in the years to around to 60 million. And also they started making $1 billion per sales every year. So, and also this was a profit for them. And Henry also decided to marginalize this company with another company, which is called Moet Hennessy. And Moet Hennessy is a cognac drink where they make drinks like the Hennessy, and also luxury drinks they make it. So marginalizing it, this will benefit both companies. So by both companies will be able to advertise each other, and this will lead to the growth, more growth of the Louis Vuitton brand. And this marginalization made the names to become LVMH. So LVMH, when you look at today, is the marginalization of the Louis Vuitton and also the Moet Hennessy. So after Henry was able to marginalize with Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, there was a CEO of Moet Hennessy, which Henry didn't get along very well with. So Henry looked for another person who will help him become and also help him resolve this problem. And this person which he looked to was a person called, he was called Arnold. He was called Bernard Arnault, the person who is I think he was the first richest person in the world, but right now he's the second richest. A few days ago, Elon Musk was able to defeat him, and also Elon Musk was able to take the first spot of the world richest man. But this man is among the top 5 richest man since a long time ago. He always maintained that position, and one thing about him is unknown and not many people know him. He keeps his profile very low. So this person was the person which Henry looked to help him also solve this problem which they were having with the CEO of Moet Hennessy. Unfortunately, this person was able to backstab Henry and also acquired 41% shares of Louis Vuitton behind the back of Henry. When Henry was able to realize this, he was very angry and took Bernard Arnault to court, and also the court supported Bernard Arnault. That's when Henry got angry and also left the company of Louis Vuitton to Bernard Arnault. And this was the first time where the Louis Vuitton was not headed by the original founders of the Louis Vuitton, the family of Louis Vuitton. So Bernard Arnault now was able to take over the company of Louis Vuitton, and the company of Louis Vuitton, when he took over it, the sales also decreased, and not many people were liking the brand of Louis Vuitton. But Bernard Arnault, being a good businessman and also a brilliant person, he was able to ask models and also fashion stars to make brands and also bags for Louis Vuitton, and these brands now became even more sought out too by people because they had various things which people could choose from. So even Louis Vuitton even grew even more further than what it was before. And many people now started liking Louis Vuitton, which was around the years of 2000. Louis Vuitton continued growing, and the Louis Vuitton had some also legal battle cases because Louis Vuitton is right now currently looking for anybody who has a copyright. If you have a copyright of their logo Louis Vuitton, they automatically sue. One of the people which they have sued is Google, and another person which they sued is the Supreme. Supreme is a luxury also brand which makes bags and also sweaters. There's Supreme, which they made a logo for Louis Vuitton. So Louis Vuitton was able to sue them, but Louis Vuitton now had to opt for another idea of also not suing people, but know how to work with people together so that their brand could be able to be more efficient and more better than the other brands. And this brought a lot of success in the brand of Louis Vuitton when it had a successful collaboration with Supreme. So Louis Vuitton now wasn't the type of brand which sues just anyhowly. It was able to now make friends and also make business with other brands which wanted to use Louis Vuitton. And that's why Louis Vuitton is now even more successful than it was even before. And Louis Vuitton has almost over 70 companies and brands which it owns. It has expanded into luxury watches, luxury handbags, luxury sweaters, sunglasses. It has done a lot of brands, a lot of brands for them, and that's why Bernard Arnault is one of the richest people in the world because of Louis Vuitton. And also it is very shocking for Louis Vuitton company and also a luxury company to become one of the owner of this particular company to become the richest person in the world. So this is the story of Louis Vuitton, a company which was started by, let's say, a homeless child and a homeless boy who had no few had this dream was impossible for it to happen today, but eventually it was able to happen. And this is all he ever wanted, to for his company to be as big as this. We can say that the company itself hasn't lost its meaning and also hasn't lost the sweat of the founder member, which is Louis Vuitton, of the pain and also the agony which he went through of making this company from nothing to at least something. So that's the story of Louis Vuitton. I hope you like this video. So next time, please check out for, maybe I'll be telling you the story of Rolex or any other story, or maybe of the Nike company. So just watch out for the next videos. And please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and till I meet you next time.